Let's assume that time is linear for the sake of this conversation. And based on that assumption, let's look at the timeline of the formation of universe, Earth, humans, and then more specifically, the scientific revolution. And then let's look at the brain and cognitive sciences. Assuming that time is linear, the universe was formed approximately 13.8 billion years ago. The Earth was 4.5 billion. Then came along humans, and the scientific revolution is only a few hundred years ago. And if we look at the cognitive sciences and brain sciences, those are even newer than the scientific revolution. And one of the newest scientific revolution is the EEG, or the neural oscillation, aka brainwaves. So, which is only hardly 150 years. Putting all this timeline into perspective, the scientific revolution is several 100,000 years ago, but the brainwaves, aka EEG sciences, is only 150 years ago. So it is safe to say, in comparison, if you compare 150 years of sciences of EEG onto several 100,000, and then compare it into billions of years of the existence of universe and Earth, it really puts everything into perspective and makes us quite humble in that it's okay that there are still a lot of things that we don't know, especially when it comes to the neural oscillation sciences. Add machine learning into the mix in terms of the timeline, then you even have a shorter, much shorter span. And so for us, those of us who are in the space of machine learning, deep learning, and these newer generation of sciences, it's not even in its infancy. It's not even conceived yet, if you will, or maybe it has conceived. But what I'm trying to say is that if we put everything into perspective, it is so early. We are so early in the space, and each and every one of us, those of us who decide to be part of this revolution and evolution, we have so much to work on and so much to investigate and potentially, hopefully, offer. In addition to all that I just mentioned, the lifespan of a human being, it's extremely short if you compare that to the timeline that I just mentioned. So let's say we live to be 80, and if we're really lucky and we start with our scientific journey, if we're lucky, we can get maybe top 20 years of productive years to do our scientific work, so to speak. And it's really not enough if you put that into perspective in terms of the amount of time that we have existed and the amount of time that science has existed, and more specifically in our case, this part of the brain. And so we really, if you think about it that way, don't have much time, because our lifespan is extremely short in comparison to our existence. And in addition to that, there's just so much yet to be explored, and it is our generation's responsibility to be part of that work as well. And that is the way I think about it, at least, and that's what I wanted to share, because when you put everything into perspective, it just takes a whole lot other meaning, and I just get extremely motivated. And so everything else in this world, all this petty drama, it just become extremely insignificant when I think like that. I'm really curious to hear what you think when it comes to time, again assuming that it's linear, but also at least those of you who are thinking about either becoming scientists or maybe you're doing it right now, how you manage that sort of thinking about time. I mean, in my case, I feel like I really try to organize my life such that I have the least amount of drama. That's one of my main goals in this world, such that it gives me more room to work on the work that I truly care about, and I think that I should be doing, because it just needs to be part of the additional body of knowledge in terms of who we are, what we're made of, and etc. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Universe, Earth,